Any views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by the journalists and guests are solely that of the journalists and guests and do not reflect the views, opinion, policies, or positions of Positive Lifestyle Management, LLC.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another episode of PLM News Network. I'm your brother Fiji, and we clean the smoke. Our title today is Lionheart 100% certified. You tell me. Networkers, y'all tell me. This is how we're going to do this here. I woke up this morning, and when I woke up, I looked into my inbox, and in my inbox was the picture of the individual who go by the name of Lionheart that says he's 100% certified. People's hating on him. He's 100% certified. Let's sit down. Let's have a paperwork party. Let's not listen to the he say, she say. All right. How did we get to this point? Several months ago, I did a podcast where I spoke about what Jeffrey Raheem Hatcher, Anthony College Boy McIntyre, Keith Gaddafi McCain, and one they go by the name of Shamar Anthony James, who go by the name of Lionheart. And how all of this tied in to Raheem trying to set me up while I was in the Federal Bureau of Prison. Okay. I had never heard of this one by the name of Lionheart until Raheem mentioned his name to me. So if y'all, I'm not going to go off into that. If y'all want to really delve into what I said, go back and watch the awareness sessions dealing with to be aware is to be alive, parts 1 through 3. But what I'm going to get into today is what is Lionheart 100% certified. Networkers, you tell me, and this is what I'm going to do. I stand on truth. PLM News Network is based on truth/facts. This will not be he say, she say, but I deal with truth. I deal what's in the records. Now let's get this understood. If the federal government, the United States Department of Justice, put some false paperwork in your discoveries saying that you did something or you didn't, or you didn't do something, or rather you did something, you know that and they know that you didn't do it, that's prosecutorial misconduct. You can sue the government. You can use that also as exculpatory evidence to show how they setting you up, they lying on you. That could become fruits of the poisonous tree doctrine, which would mean that particular fruit is poisonous. I mean the whole tree is poisonous, and the whole case can possibly get thrown out. So let's get that understood. So I'm going somewhere with this here. Let's get Mr. Lionheart. I spelled it right. Lying, Lionheart, because you have a lion heart. Let's give him credit for this here. He went to trial. And if people don't check the jury instruction, all you're looking at is the sentencing transcripts or the trial transcripts, you will see that everything look okay until both the government and the attorneys close their case and the jury instructions is now being read. I guarantee you, while he was in the feds and they was having these paperwork parties, as he said he wanted to have, he never allowed peoples to read the end of his transcripts where they got into the jury instruction. Because most jury instructions are basic jury instructions. So what I did, I read all the documents because that's where you find your hidden gems at, and documents that people don't normally pay attention to. So let's go over here. First thing we're going to do this here. I am going to bring up the documents dealing with how the case started, his jury instructions, right? So we're going to bring up the jury instructions, and in the process of bringing up these jury instructions, what we want to do is we want to look, we want to see is everything accurate. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to try to go to the top with me. It says, in the United States District Court for the Western District of Tennessee, Western Division, United States of America, plaintiff versus Shamar Anthony James, defendant, case number 16-20081. Then if you go down, the title is Defendant Shamar James, proposed jury instructions. These are the proposed jury instructions that him and his lawyer put forth. They put this forth. The government didn't put this forth. Him and his lawyer put this forth. And it says, comes now, defendant Shamar James by and through counsel, and does respectfully submit the following proposed jury instruction for trial in the above captioned matter. You, through your attorney, put these jury instructions through. All right. And in the process of putting these jury instructions through, before your attorney put these jury instructions through, he had to sit down and consult with you. Either you agree with it or you don't. It's apparent that you agreed with these particular jury instructions because they went into the records. These are the jury instructions that went into the records. So now let's go and make sure that this is the right person. We're going to go to page 7. I want to make sure that this is the right person. We do not want to make sure that somebody isn't this is not the right person. Now, if you go down to the bottom, it says RICO conspiracy count 1. It said count 1 of the indictment charges that from at least in or about 1996 or about April the 22nd, 2016, the defendants. Now these are his co-defendants in this case. So now, when I say these names, y'all reach out to these people and see if this is the same person. It says DeMarcus Dion Crawford, Rico Terrell Harris, Shamar Anthony James, Demario Demont Sprouse, Robert Elliott Jones, Denton Shuggs. Now this is the Shug now. This is the same Shug that wind up in that paperwork. Go back and look at To Be Aware is to Be Alive. Parts 1, 2, and 3. Taurus Montez Taylor, Gerald Eugene Hampton. Now, these are the people who went to trial on this particular case that was a part of this conspiracy, right? So now, we got that, right? Now we're going to go to page 14. Now, it says we're going to start at defense theory. This is the defense theory. This is not the government's theory. This is the defense theory. This is Mr. Shamar Anthony James, defendant, and his attorney theory. They put this together. The government didn't put this together. He done it. So this is how it reads. It said, That concludes the part of my instructions explaining the elements of the crime charged in the indictment. Next, I will explain in general the defendant's position. This is the judge speaking. It says, before I do so, I want to remind you that it is your duty to consider each defendant separately. Nothing in these instructions changes your duty to separately consider the evidence against each defendant on each charge. As I instructed you at the outset of this case, each defendant has pled not guilty to the charges contained in the indictment. Once again, watch this here. In summary, this is in bold letters. Defendant Samar James maintains that he affirmatively withdrew from the National Criminal Organization or enterprise known as the Gangster Disciples as charged in the indictment prior to April the 22nd, 2011. Based upon his cooperation with the United States, which is the prosecutor, which is the government, and other law enforcement prior to that date. So that means prior to April the 22nd, 2011, this individual had already started cooperating with the United States government and other law enforcement agencies. And at the same time, he was in communications with who? One Jeffrey Raheem Hatcher Sr. Coupled with the rules and regulations of the organization enterprise, Defendant James was no longer a member of or associated with the Gangster Disciple enterprise. In addition, there's some additions added to it now. Defendant James submits that any criminal conduct potentially attributable to James once his cooperation had become public, but no longer then on or after April 22nd, 2011, would have been justified based upon the defense of coercion, duress, or justification arising from the real and present threat and acts of violence and death directed towards him by members of the Gangster Disciples and the organization / enterprise rules and regulations in itself. So he's saying, in order for him to be a part of this conspiracy, this enterprise, this RICO case that was going on after April the 22nd, 2011, it was because he was being threatened. He was being coerced by the GDs, the Gangster Disciples. And he was doing it out of fear for his life. This is what this is saying. This is his theory. He's saying everything that he was doing it because they was threatening him. And he was justified to do it because his life was in danger. This is what he's saying now. Mind you now, you're already a government informant. So they already know that you are working. So now you're saying that you continue to be a part of this conspiracy because you was afraid for your life. So now if you're afraid for your life, that means that the government is involved with it too. That's exactly what that means now. That means that the government is involved with this here as well. They know it because you was working for them. So if you were selling these drugs and you was doing it and your life was in danger, that means the government put you in harm's way knowingly, and they knowingly say, hey man, just get in there and sell as many drugs as you possibly can. This is what I'm getting out of this, and I could be wrong. Finally, Defendant James maintained that any conspiracy to distribute drugs that may have existed between Defendant James and others would not have been furtherance of the criminal enterprise known as the Gangster Disciples, and instead would have solely arisen out of a separate and distinct variance from the drug conspiracy charge they in. He said, hey man, he telling 2 or 3 different lies in this one passage. I'm not gonna say 2 or 3 different lies because this is his theory. There's 2 or 3 different stories. So y'all be the judge. I'm done with this here. I gave y'all everything that y'all need. This is his paperwork. This is his paperwork. No, matter of fact, to show you this here, his lawyer name was Howard B. Manis. That was his lawyer. That was his lawyer. Attorney for Defendant Shamar James. Attorney for Defendant Shamar James. Let's get this done now. Let's look at this here. Stop playing, man. Stop talking about this paperwork part and that you 100% certified. Cut that stuff out, man. Get on out the way, bro. Go on and do your music. Go on and do whatever you doing, man. Y'all cut this out, man. Stop trying to fleece the peoples, man. Go on and get on about your business, bro. Get on out the way. I'm done with this here. Y'all tell me, is he 100% certified? And on that note, thank you, thank you, thank you. Peace.